Okay, got it. So the next one is how to join the data. Merging or joining is same. Okay, how to merge the data. We'll take a look at this, and then we will continue with looking at how to append the data. Okay, what is the difference between these two? What is the difference between these two? In the interview, they'll ask you this kind of question. The merging, right? To merge, it allows us to join the tables using a common column. The merge will allow you to join the tables using a common column. So whereas in the case of appending the data, you don't have to have a common column between the data sets. That is the difference between these two. I will just write it here because if I tell everything, you will forget it or you will not be able to understand. So as part of the merging, we join the tables. Using a common column. For example, you have an employee table. You have something called project table. Okay, here you have the employee ID and employee name or employee first name. You have something called first name. In USA, they follow this in first name, last name. And then this age and date of joining. These are the informations are available in employee table. And project table, a single employee may be working in more than one project. Actually, the project is supply chain analytics is the project ID. This is your project ID. And then here employee ID, something like that. Okay, you have something called employee ID. And here you have something called start date, the project start date and end date. And you have something called status column and so on. Okay, this table have this many number of columns. Employee table have employee ID, first name, last name, age, date of joining. These are the informations are available. Your manager wants to know. He wants you to create a report wherein it should show each and every employee's first name and last name along with the project name. So apart from this, we have some project name is there in this table. Okay, project name. He wants you to display the first name and last name of the employees along with the project name for which they got assigned. Okay, and also they wanted to see the duration of the project. End date minus start date is the duration. He wants to understand, each project which all employees got assigned. He wants to see their name, and also he wants to know the duration of the each project. Okay, so here he wants you to display the first name, last name, and project name, and then start date, end date. So the first name and last name exists in this table, whereas in this table, the project name is available here. You want the first name, last name, project name, and then the start date and end date wants you to print it in a report or show it or display it in a report. How can you do that? How can you do that? So in order to, because in this case, we need to bring in the data from these two tables. And again, it should show each employee's corresponding project name. It should not show some other project name, okay? Irrelevant project name. Let's say you are working in supply chain, Sanoj Kumar, right? So let's say, SCA01 is the employee ID. His first name is Sanoj. His last name is Kumar. And, maybe he is 24 years and the date of joining is something like that. And here the employee ID is SCA01. Okay, everything is there. But if he wants to know the first name, your manager wants to know the first name and last name, comma, the project name, comma, the duration. He wants, end of the day, he doesn't know, how the data are stored. Okay, he doesn't care about this. Okay, he wants, but in order to bring in this here, for example, Sanoj Kumar, and then the project name is SCA, Supply Chain Analytics, and duration is 5 days. Start date minus end date, end date minus start date. After you do this, you'll get the duration just 5 days on these days, to complete this project. This is the task given to him. Likewise, other employees, he wants to see that, he wants to print that. But here, the first name and last name is available in one table. Okay, this one is available in this table. Sorry, the first name The last name is available, whereas the project name is available in this table. Right. So, and then the duration is, derived, you need to derive it. Okay. The first two columns are available here and the remaining two columns are available here. So in order to combine, these two tables columns, what you need to do is you need to use a common column to join these two tables. What is the common column? Employee ID and employee ID here. But this here in this table, the employee ID should be very unique. For example, Renuka RE01, Renu01. So Renuka, her last name and then her age and all. Okay. And here the employee ID is REN01, and she is also working in supply chain analytics and started India. But in this table, employee ID column should not have the duplicates. But whereas in this table, it's kind of a detailed table. In this table, the same associate, Renuka or Sanoj Kumar, he can work on more than one project also. The employee ID in this table can be repeated, but here it should not get repeated because this is a master table. This is nothing but the master table. Understand these terms, okay? Master table. It is also called as a lookup table. Don't ever forget this. Master table, lookup table. In some cases, they call it a dimension table. Right? The table wherein you will not have the duplicate values for the key column. This is also called as a key column. Okay. So this table name is, the entire table name is called as either a master table or lookup table or dimension table. Because you are going to work with Americans. Okay. They will use, any one of the terms. You should be knowing it. If they say lookup table, okay, he's referring to master. And if you say master table, okay, he's talking about either dimension or lookup. All these terms are same. If I say a person or if I say a man, everything is same, right? Okay. Okay. So here, this is the one, right? So here they use these three different names, right? Interchangeably, they'll be using it. You need to know this. So in the case of this table, the key column should not have duplicate values. Whereas, this table is a kind of a, transaction table. Transaction table. Here you can have duplicate values for the keys. The employee number can have duplicate values. Even project ID can also have a duplicate keys. And so in this case, I mentioned about the project name here. Usually the project name will be available in another table, right? So you have something called project table. That is also another master table. For simplicity's sake, I just put the project name also here as part of this table. Okay, usually they don't put the project name also here. That will be in another table. I don't want to complicate this at the very beginning itself. So hence easy. So in this case, you need to bring in the two columns from this table and then two columns from this table. In order to bring in the four columns from these two tables, you need to use a common column between these two tables, employee ID and employee ID. Here you don't have the project ID available. Here you have only the employee ID, okay, available. Hence, you create the relationship between these two tables. Simply drag and drop the column. So in the model view, you need to drag this column employee ID and put it on top of this employee ID column. That's all. Got it? Once you create the relationship, this table can filter this table. Okay, this table can filter. The purpose of creating the relationships, filtering the data. Okay, so now you understood. Remember only one thing. This is your master, this is transaction table. If you want to bring in the data from both the tables, you need to have a common column. This is nothing but, right, using which you create the relationship. This is nothing but join, right? In SQL, because it's join, here they call it as a merge. Now you are clear. So to join tables, we need to use a common column, full stop, one liner. To join tables, we need to use common columns. That's all. I just explained it in detail. Now you understood. To join tables, we need to use a common column. Okay, that you understand. So what is this appending data? Appending data is a little bit different. For example, week 1 sales. Let's say in a week 1 sales, you store it in a file, and week 2 sales, you store it. Every week you store the each week you store the data in a separate file. Week 3 and week 4, you store a separate file. Every month beginning, you need to combine these two data and then put it in a single file. The single file should have all these week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 data it should have in it. You need to consolidate all these data in a single file. This file will have the monthly sales data in it, right? For that specific month, you will have the all the 4 weeks consolidated data available here. You simply append this data. For example, you just append this. Simply you push this, you push this, you push this. It means whatever the record. For example, you have 1, 2, 3 is there. Here you have 4, 5. So what will happen is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be consolidated, and then you have 6, 7, 8, 9. So finally you see up to this week 3, right? 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then week 4, 8, 9. Right? This is one after other. So the values in this file or the records in this file will get appended. So 1 to 3, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5 will get included as part of this file. And then 6, 7 will get included along with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is what is called as append data, because we are talking about 4 weeks data. If we have only 2 weeks data, in that case, 4, 5 will get included as part of this data. So end of the day, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records will be there. Got it? This is what is append. So append is simply you are adding combining the data sets. That's all. But here you are joining the data. In this case, you need to have a common column between the tables. Otherwise, you cannot do the join. Even if you do it, it will not show the accurate value. Fine. We'll start with a simple example, append, and then we will proceed with the joins. Okay, close and apply. Next, what I do is get data, and here we have some text CSV, and here what I do is append. No, not this one. That file is not there. So get your Excel file. I'm going to open Excel file, append1.xls. So I'm going to load these 3 files into the Power BI desktop. Click on open. So in this file, we have 2 subsheets. I don't want to use both the sheets. Any one of the column is fine for me. And here, okay, I just hit the load. And then I just go and click on the get data. I have another file by the name of append2. You just think append1 is week 1 sales and append2 is week 2 sales and so on. So 2 files, append1, append2 I loaded. But here, since I have selected the sheet as part of the append1, it can, it displays this name. We need to, let's say we will give some week 1 sales. This is week 2 sales. Whatever the data are available in this file, that one should be made as part of this one. You just think that I'm going to click on the home ribbon here. And then here, I just click on the transform data. We'll go to the Power Query editor. Currently, I'm in the Power Query editor. In this Power Query editor, look here, the Power Query editor on top. Can you see it? Yeah. And here, what we will do is in the home ribbon, you need to be there in the, even though you are in the Power Query editor, you need to be there in the home ribbon. In the home ribbon, at the end of this one, if you see right in the menu, you'll find some append queries. Click on this drop down thing. Don't select the first one, select the second one. Append queries as new. I will tell you why we need to select the second one. What happens is when you select the first one, the week 1 sales and week 2 sales will get appended, will get combined together. Okay, it got combined, but if I wanted to see what data was there in week 1, what data was there in week 2, you cannot see it. Okay. For that purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to append queries as new. What will happen is, look here, you have week 1 sales, week 2 sales queries are available on the left side. It will remain as it is. It will remain as it is. It will not get disturbed. Right. So this query, what it does is it will create this one right here. What will happen is it will create a new query wherein you will find the combination of these two data sets values. Look here, append one. I just refreshing. So before you do append, you need to just check your data set. Okay, look here, I have something like how many columns are there? Product, sales, currency. And if I go and see your product, sales, currencies, they're very good. First 3 columns are matching. And the next one is you have some date column here, but whereas here they've given you date 1 column. Okay, since they have given date 1, okay, what I do is I just select these 4 columns and right click on it, remove other columns. Keep only these 4 columns. Okay. Okay, and the date I will put it probably here. Yeah. So product sales currency is there, date 1 is there, but here the date is there, whereas here date 1 is there. So what Power Query does is when you use the append, it will consider date 1 as a separate column. So what happens is in week 1 sales, we have a column by the name of date, and week 2 sales, we have a column by the name of date 1, but in week 1, we don't have a column by the name of date 1. Hence, it puts null against the week 2 data. So end of the day, these two files data are available in a single file, a single query. Since in the first query, we have only date column is available. What happens is after combining the data from these two files, right here it puts null here because in the second data file, we don't have a column by the name of date. Okay. Similarly, in the case of date 1 column, see, basically it creates an additional column. What I want is this data should also be made part of this one. Okay. And I don't want to have a separate column here. Either you change this column as a date 1 or you change the column as a date. So what I do is I just go here and then I just rename it to date. And if you go and do the append now, automatically it will get reflected, right? So whatever the date 1 values were there here, it one got, got included as per the date. In simple time, here how many records are there? 1 to 14 records. Here how many records are there? 5. 14 plus 5, how much? 19 records. Look here. These two files data got appended into a single file. Now, if you go and create a chart, like column chart or bar or whatever chart that you want, you can create it based on this data set. So that it will give you the total sales for the first 2 weeks or fortnight. If they want to understand every fortnight, first fortnight and second fortnight, what is the sales? Right? All the data for 2 weeks are available here. Okay. So hope you understood what is append. Append is basically you want to consolidate, consolidate more than one file. Okay, data into single file or single query. Instead of saying file. In the case of Power Query, it is all tables are called as a query. That's all. See, your manager gives you some file like this. Okay, the first file have something like this. Listen, something like there's something like hammam soap, right? Hammam soap, and quantity is 5. Okay, in the first file, and we have something else called Lux soap, and in the first file itself. Okay, we have sold 6. This is the week 1 file, and week 2 you have something like the same. This is Lux soap, we sold 10, and the hammam soap we sold 5. In this case, what will happen is these 2 records will get included as part of this when you do the append. You do the append. So end of the day, the append, right? Append query will have the hammam 5, Lux 6, and again hammam 10 and Lux 5. Sorry, this is hammam, right? Second one is the hammam. This is the Lux, this 10. So the 2 plus 2, 4 records will get included in a single file, 2 and 2. This is what your append. But here, in the case of append, you need to remember one thing very clearly. Supposing mistakenly I put Lux one more time, duplicate, this record got duplicated. When you append the queries, what will happen? It doesn't take into account of the duplicate records. Ideally, when you combine these two, since Lux 6, this record is a duplicate record, it should ignore that. But it will blindly include 3 plus 2, 5 records in the appended query. After you append that queries, you need to check, are there any duplicates are there? Okay, the append will not take into account of removing the duplicate records. Point 1. Point 2 is whatever the number of columns are there in your file, right? First file, the same number of columns should be there in the other files. If you have duplicate columns, right? For example, date, in one table, one file, I have a column by the name of date, and other file, I have something else, date 1 is there. So what will happen is the Power BI will think date 1 is different from date. According to us, we know very well, date and date 1 are same column. The date 1 column data should go into date column only. In that case, they made a mistake, right? The naming standard, naming convention is not correctly used. So before you append the data, make sure that all the column names are same. Otherwise, it will cause some kind of confusions. Then data type. Okay, and data type also it should be same. If the data types are not same, it is. But column order can be anything. Column order can be anything. See here, you know very well the hammam is a text, right? Text data type. This is a number data type. In the week 1, I know for the first column I have hammam Lux and this one. In week 2, I have the first column I have 5, 6, sorry, 10, 5, and then here the product name is there. So in the latest version, even though the column orders are not same across the files. So okay, here listen, here you have Lux, and here you have hammam. Here you have 5 here, and here you have 4. Okay. So even though the column orders are not same, this value will not get appended into this column. Okay, blindly. So okay, this is my quantity and this is my product name. This is my product name and quantity. So product name column value will get into product name, quantity value get into quantity column, even though the order of the columns are not same. But in the earlier version, the order of the columns in all the files should be same. And then the data type should also be same, but even this data type should be same in this version. Okay, in case of any change in the data, it will cause problem. Okay, remember these points. Okay, if you remember these points, then you're all set. To summarize, append append queries in Power Query will help you to combine more than one file into single file. But the caveat here is it will not take into account of the duplicate values after it does the consolidation. Another point, what we need to remember is make sure that you are not going to have the duplicate columns. Okay, the number of columns should be same. Okay, even if it is not same, it will work, but it will create something like sparse matrix. What is sparse matrix? Some columns value will be there, some columns value will not be there for many records. Okay, it will unnecessarily consume space, disk space, and memory also. Understood? Remember these things. Okay, to consolidate the data from more than one file, use append. In the case of append, it doesn't take into account of the duplicate records. It is not going to remove the duplicate records. The number of columns in all the files should be same. Full stop. This is what is append. So what is merge? Okay, now merge, I need to use some other data set. I cannot use this one. So for that, I'm going to load some other data, Excel workbook. Here I just say sales fact. I'm going to select this sheet. Everything is fine. Here some columns, additional columns are there. Let it be there. Yes, you can count null and duplicate values. What do you mean by count? See, if you ask this question seems to be very genuine. Okay, sorry, generic one. Can we count null? Okay, when you do count, right? Okay, it is okay. Quantity column. For example, in the quantity column, I have null values, right? So if you have NA, you cannot use it in Power Query, right? You need to replace it with 0 or something like that. Obviously, it does the count. Okay, and the duplicate values, you want to count how many number of duplicate records are there. So for that, what you can do is you can filter the data, right? Duplicate values, you can filter it and you can find out. Okay. Okay, now I have loaded the NC sales. I just give some meaningful name. I just rename it as sales fact. And then new source. I just click on the new source here. What I do is here product data.xls. Okay, I just load it here. Distinct values we can find out. Okay, you can use the distinct value. There is a distinct function is available. Okay, this is my product data. In the product data, I have the product name is available here. Okay, fine. The product data table. The product data is nothing but I'm going to rename is okay, not the product data. 1 second, I'll just dim product. I'll just wrote product dimension. Dim product is nothing but product dimension. In DAX, we have function. Okay, the count function is available, and we can find out the duplicate also. Okay, and here the dim product and product data. Sorry, ignore the product data. We are going to merge the sales fact with dim product. Why? If I click on the sales fact, here I can see the product ID, but I don't see the product name here. But my manager wants to see the product name. Okay, he wants to know how many number of units we sold and what is the cost price and the list price for those products, and along with it you want to see the sales amount. But the product name is available in the dimension product. Look here, the product name is available here. So to combine these two or to pull the data from these two tables, we need to create a relationship between these two tables. Which all tables? The sales fact table and then product dimension. We need to create the relationship because we want to bring in the values from these two tables. Only when you create the relationship, you will be able to find out the or you will be able to get the accurate data. Okay. For this, I just go to the desktop here, Power BI desktop here, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the model view this time. I'll just look at the files that I loaded just now. Look here, the product dimension table and sales factor already got linked. The line exists already. But when I keep the cursor over here, one second. When you keep the cursor over here, what columns got highlighted in DIM product and sales fact? Product ID. So which means I have created a relationship, which is nothing but the line, okay, between these two tables based on the common column product ID. Got it? Since the product ID column is available here, product ID column is also available here, it creates the relationship or link automatically. Supposing you have something called product space ID, then it will not create the link. It'll consider, okay, product space ID is different from product ID or product underscore ID, here product ID. Okay. Since the naming standards are not same, it will not. So here you have given the product ID, same product ID, you have used it in the fact table. Hence, it automatically creates a relationship between the two tables. So once the relationship get created, then you can pull the data from these two tables. For example, I just go to the visualization pane. Just beneath this, you can see the table visual. I just bring this somewhere here. And then what I do is here the DIM product. Okay, product name, you just drop it here. And then in the sales fact table, it displays how many quantities we sold in each product along with this, right? You can do that. And other thing is like sales amount, I put it here. Okay, if I remove the relationship, what is going to happen? It will not do the filtering. If I go here, look here, it is loading it. It will take some, but it repeats the values, the same values. What values? The total quantity and total sales amount. It repeats it across. It is not giving the accurate value, correct values, which means this column values are coming from product dimension table. These two column values are coming from product dimension table. Sorry, sales fact table. Okay. In order to bring in the values from these two tables, the product dimension table and sales fact table, you need to have the relationship. If you don't have the relationship, it will not give you the accurate result, which means it will not do the filtering. Anyhow, we'll discuss in detail about what is filtering. Product ID. So this is how you need to create the relationship. I selected the product ID from this table, and then I just drop it over the product ID column on this table. It will take for a while. Look here, the line got created, which is nothing but the relationship. So the question is, okay, do I need to drag and drop? Is there any other? Yeah, we have different options available to create the relationship. That we will discuss it in detail in my next session. So as of now, you understood, right? So how, what is the difference between merge and append. In the case of append, you don't have to have the relationship created between the tables based on a common column, okay? But in the case of merge, which is nothing but the join, you have to use the common column between the tables to perform join operation. Okay, so okay, now I'll just show you what are the types of joins are there, but it will take some more time. Today, I'm getting a lot of calls because today we have some release. What we will do is this Tuesday, even night better, right? 9 p.m. because Sundar is weekdays, he's also busy, he's a manager, and I'm also a manager. And a couple of other guys also prefer night and weekdays. Weekdays by 9 p.m. Tuesday, we will have it. So that we will do fast tracking. Okay, we'll try to finish up the topics as well as possible. In one way, I'll also be freed. Okay, if I complete it early, reasonably early, which means I don't want to fast track blindly. Okay, and from your side also, the course will be completed early, and you will have time to prepare for the interview, everything. Okay, so now you understood what is merge and append. Enya will give you a recap on this Tuesday night, and then we'll explain you what are the types of joins are available in Power BI. Like in SQL query, what are the joins we do it? The left join, right join, inner join, and a full outer join, left anti-join, right anti-join, everything we can do it here also. Okay, so that we will take a look at. Append already explained you, it's pretty simple. And whereas in the case of merge, we need to look at left outer join, right outer join, all the things, which we'll discuss it in the upcoming Tuesday night. And also we'll try to complete the Power Query Editor, the query parameter on this upcoming Tuesday. And then probably the Thursday, what we'll do is we'll have one more session wherein we'll cover the group by everything. Okay, all the things we'll cover. So whatever the agenda I shared it, right? So that can span till this upcoming Thursday. Okay, and then what we will do is we'll share and we'll share some assignments in my website. So far, whatever I covered, right, complete all the quizzes. Quizzes are there, and assignment is also there for the Power Query Editor. You go and download the data set and take a look at uh, the problem statement, and then you start solve that one also. Okay, does it sounds good, right? So anyhow, I will share this file also to you all. Okay, probably I will rename it and then I'll share it to you, or I will just share it to you. Okay, you can simply download this file and then start practice it. See, the other student, she left in between. Okay, she joined